Josh Allen and the Bills will take on the Broncos in round 2 of the playoffs without any receivers. But we'll tell you somebody who could improve their dynasty value this weekend next.
You are Locked On Dynasty Football, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We'd like to thank you for making us the #1 sports podcast network. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Welcome back. I am your host, Marcus Mosher. He is the Fantasy Football Hall of Famer, Michael Fabiano. And on today's show, we are previewing the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, going through all of the top fantasy players and dynasty assets. And Fabs, I want to start with this Bills-Broncos game. The Bills have almost no receivers in this game. Gabe Davis tore his ACL. Tyrell Shavers tore his ACL. They've been moving guys on and off the roster all season long. So this is what your receiving core looks like going into this matchup. It's Khalil Shakir, who's going to catch about 15 passes for 90 yards. It's the corpse of Brandin Cooks, and
who actually was good, the last couple of games.
Not bad.
Not bad.
And Keon Coleman, who was a healthy scratch for a big portion of the season. This really feels like coincidentally enough, his Gabe Davis moment. Like, could he have a big game here and restore some of his dynasty value?
Could I date Sydney Sweeney? I mean, I could, but I probably won't. I don't know. Like, I'm out on Keon Coleman, dude. Like, I mean, it's funny that you mentioned Gabe Davis because that was kind of the first thing that I thought of. But, I mean, if there was ever a time for this kid to step up, it would be now. But, I mean, look at this season, dude. I mean, there was not one positive that we can take out of Keon Coleman's second season in the NFL. He was a healthy scratch very often. When he played, he wasn't great. It seems like this was a bust of a pick for the Bills, unfortunately. Brandin Cooks has been the wide receiver who's made some plays over the last couple of weeks that have helped Buffalo. You mentioned it. There's going to be a lot of Khalil Shakir. There's going to be a lot of those 2 tight end sets. You're going to see a lot of Kincaid and Dawson Knox in this game. And you should see a lot of James Cook because Denver is very tough against wide receivers in the passing game. So maybe the Bills are going to be able to get something done on the ground with James Cook. I think you're going to see a lot of him. This is potentially going to be a statement game in the playoffs for Josh Allen, because if he can go into Denver and beat the Broncos with a mash unit of wide receivers, that is going to go very far in terms of cementing his legacy. And if he can get to the Super Bowl with this team, geez Louise, we're going to be talking about Josh Allen among the elite quarterbacks, not only statistically, but maybe in NFL history, because that would have been one heck of an accomplishment, considering the talent that he has or does not have around him right now. And that Bills defense, they better nut up. I can tell you that right now, because if they can't stop the run, which has been the case, RJ Harvey's going to run all over them, and the Bills are going to have a very difficult afternoon in Mile High.
So you didn't really go for my Keon Coleman hype. Not buying it?
No, I don't. But why? Like, I mean, listen,
well, he did.
Crazy.
I'm not. Listen, I'm trying to talk myself into it because I don't believe myself either. He did have a big play last week. He looked incredibly slow, but it's a big opportunity for him. One play. Here's honestly, more than anything, what I would like to see is Buffalo just feature Dalton Kincaid a bunch. We know that Dalton Kincaid is dealing with several injuries right now, and he's probably not going to be healthy at all for the remainder of the playoffs through the Super Bowl. He's going to need an offseason. And frankly, that's kind of been on the knock on him all the way back to Utah is the injuries. But this is a perfect opportunity for him to show that he can be the focal point of a passing game. And if I'm Buffalo, like, you kind of need him to be ready for a big target workload. I hope we see it.
Who will Patrick Surtain cover in this game?
I mean, he's probably just going to be on the outside covering.
Which means he'll probably be on Keon Coleman.
Probably. Good luck, Keon.
That's not a good thing for Keon. The player in this game that I think, and there's actually 2, and they're both on the Denver side. I already mentioned one, RJ Harvey, who's been very good. He was a league winner in fantasy down the stretch.
Real quick on Harvey. We talk about this all the time, but when you have these big standalone games, and if you can put together a big performance, those are what really shift dynasty values, even more so than actual stats.
Sure.
If Harvey has a big game against Buffalo,
yep.
I'm with you. Like, I think we're now starting to talk about him in the top 14, top 15 range of running backs.
Mm-hmm. And then the other player is Pat Bryant to me, because the Bills are very tough against perimeter receivers. They've been very tough against the wide receiver group as a whole, in fact, this season. So Courtland Sutton's going to have all he can handle. If Pat Bryant can come out and have a big game, gives him maybe 5 for 70 and maybe a touchdown somewhere in that area, you're going to start seeing his dynasty value prop up a little bit too. Because Troy Franklin, although he looked like maybe the guy at some points during the course of the regular season, he's kind of fallen off a cliff over the last, month or two. And so Pat Bryant's another player that I'll be going to be interested in watching this weekend.
Is this weirdly like a really, really important game for Bo Nix? Because he did not play well in the playoff game last year against Buffalo. He had the first opening touchdown where he threw the ball like 70 yards down the field, and that was basically it. If he struggles in this game against this Buffalo team that's beat up, they're going to be without Maxwell Harrison, one of their starting cornerbacks, against a Bills defense that doesn't generate any pass rush. I do wonder if this could be kind of a tipping point, not only just for his value with the Broncos, but in dynasty leagues. Like, if we just can't trust him in any of these big games, what are we doing here?
I mean, he's finished in the top 10 in points 2 straight years. He's been in the league 2 years. So, I mean, I think, and what's funny is that, remember in the preseason, we were talking about there's going to be a quarterback who has a sophomore slump, and we didn't think it would be Jayden Daniels, and then it ended up being Jayden Daniels, and it wasn't Bo Nix.
Although I'm going to give Daniels a little bit of slack because he did get injured multiple times.
I get it. But, your best ability is availability. And he wasn't available to us a lot this season. And when he was, I mean, his numbers weren't great. It's averaged 16 points per game. So when you're talking about Bo Nix, I think I'm not saying he has to win this game, but he certainly has an advantage. As you mentioned, right. Denver's got an advantage on the offensive side of the football. They're mostly healthy. On the defensive side of the football, Buffalo's all banged up. I actually think this could be maybe a bit of a higher scoring game than maybe people are projecting, because a lot of times, like in the playoffs, the defenses kind of go by the wayside, and all of a sudden you just see points like we saw that, in the first week of the wild card round. So listen, I'm a Bo Nix fan. He's got Sean Payton in his back pocket, or Sean Payton has Bo Nix in his back pocket, whatever you want to say. And I fully expect Denver to advance. And that's kind of why, like in my postseason leagues, I'm playing James Cook this week, because I'm afraid that I'm going to lose him. Yes. And I know that he's going to get a lot of work against, but I don't know that Bo Nix having a good or a bad game is going to seriously affect his fantasy value, because really his value, can it rise any more than it already is? And I don't know that it can.
No, I don't think it can. But I do think, and again, not everybody in your dynasty leagues is going to be so stat oriented. I know that sounds crazy, right? But they're not going to look at fantasy points to project what it's going to be going forward. I know there's a lot of people, like in my dynasty leagues, that have maybe only watched Bo Nix 3 or 4 times in the season. Now they see him in a big primetime spot. If he fails, I think you're going to see him become more available in your dynasty leagues this offseason. Whether that's right or wrong, we could disagree about it, but that's kind of the way that human emotion is, right? Like, if you see a guy play really poorly in a big game, you have a negative connotation towards him. I mean, think about our guy, Tony Romo, right? Who is awesome in so many games for the Cowboys, but he had a couple stinkers on primetime, and then everybody thinks he's trash, right? Like, that's just the way that football fans work sometimes.
Unfortunately, when I think of Romo nowadays, I think of the broadcast booth gaffes and the gaff in Seattle with the Vaseline ball, or maybe non-Vaseline ball, when Martin.
But you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, Romo had all these amazing games.
Yes, I understand. That's why Gabe Davis is going to be forever the poster child for that.
Yes. In the positive way. All right, let's talk about the NFC matchup between the 49ers and Seahawks. Maybe the game that I'm most excited to see this weekend. Let's talk about that one next. This episode is brought to you by Ultimate QB. Have you ever wished that you could become a pro quarterback, getting drafted first overall by your favorite team? Well, now you can, and there's a mobile game just for you called Ultimate QB Football Legend, In this game, you step into the cleats of a number 1 draft pick, and it's your job to lead your team to greatness, to help turn a failing franchise into a dynasty. This is the number 1 quarterback career game mode on the app stores right now, and it introduces the most realistic environment with full career control. You'll deal with all the ups and downs of a quarterback journey, from rookie nerves to playoff drama and so much more. Ultimate QB is totally free to play, has no ads, and works 100% offline. Perfect for when you just want to sneak in a game or two on the go. So just head over to ultimate-qb.com. That's ultimate-qb.com, or search for Ultimate QB in your app stores. And we've got something special for you guys. Use the promo code LOCKEDON in the game store to get a free boost to start your career. Ultimate QB football legend, QB1, it's your legacy.
As the new year gets going, a lot of people are trying to simplify their routines, and dinner is a big one. Between busy work days, cold winter nights, and packed schedules, having an easy, reliable dinner plan makes a huge difference. And that's where Home Chef comes in. Home Chef takes the stress out of cooking by delivering fresh, pre-portioned ingredients right to your door with easy-to-follow recipes that actually taste great. They're rated number 1 by users of other meal kits for quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease. And it's easy to see why. Meals come ready to fit your schedule. 30-minute recipes, oven-ready trays, or quick lunches. There's over 30 weekly options, including family-sized meals and different dietary choices. Recipes are simple, but feel elevated, even restaurant quality, with dishes co-created by chefs like Gordon Ramsay. Everything arrives pre-portioned, so there's less prep, less mess, and no wasted food. It also saves time and money. Home Chef customers save an average of $86 per month on groceries. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering my listeners 50% off your first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life. I mean, sign me up for that right now. Just go to homechef.com/locked-on. That's homechef.com/locked-on for $50 off your first box, free shipping, and free dessert for life. I'll take some of that. Must be active subscription, and you must receive a free dessert by being an active subscriber.
Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen every single day. If you haven't done so already, check out the new Everydayer Club. You're going to get access to ad-free audio of the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. Go to lockedondynasty.supercast.com or check out the link in the show notes. All right, Fabs, let's talk about this 49ers-Seahawks matchup. We got a little bit of intrigue now that Sam Darnold is listed as questionable with an oblique injury. Drew Lock would play if Darnold can't, but
Darnold's playing, dude. I mean, yeah.
Who is the dynasty asset that you are the most excited to see in this matchup?
You want to be honest? It's Jake Tonges. Okay,
great call, because that's who I had.
Yeah, I mean, you know what McCaffrey is. Right. I mean, you know what Jackson Smith and Jigba is. Ken Walker, we're not sure what's going on with him. He's going to be a free agent after the season's over. We know what Zach Charbonnet is. If Jake Tonges can come in and have a big game, and if you look at his numbers when Kittle's been out, he's been really good. He's been really good. And so Shanahan likes to use the tight end in his offense. We know that. He's a free agent going into next season, but he's not going to cost a whole heck of a lot for the Niners to hold on to. What happens if Tonges goes in there and has a big game against the Seahawks, win or lose? And the Seahawks, if they have one weakness on defense, they have given it up to tight ends a little bit this year. What if he goes in and has a big game? And all of a sudden, George Kittle's not ready for September or October or maybe November or December. Who's their number 1 tight end? It could be Tonges. And that, to me, is the guy that I've become a fan of him because I've actually streamed him this year some when Kittle was out and he was
won a league because
he was awesome.
Yeah.
Right, he was awesome. So that would be the dude that I'm really going to be watching to see if he can continue to maybe climb the ladder. And who the heck knows, man? I mean, maybe he's going to be the next 49ers tight end for the next several years, because Kittle at 32 coming off an Achilles, I love the guy to death. He's awesome. His best years are now behind him.
Plus, they're practicing by a power plant, which is, really, it's a great theory. You need to go check it out if you haven't. Do you think that the 49ers could be one of these sneaky teams to look into the tight end market in free agency? Because you've got guys like Kyle Pitts who's available. I think actually someone like Isaiah Likely might be a better fit. I think Charlie Kohler, who is in Baltimore right now, that's another guy that I think could be a perfect Shanahan tight end. I think you're right to highlight Tonges, but I do wonder if they could be a sneaky destination for some of these tight ends.
Yeah, I don't know if they want to spend a lot of money. I mean, I'm sure Isaiah Likely is going to be looking to get paid.
How much could Isaiah Likely really get paid?
Yeah, I know, but I mean,
he's had.
I think maybe more than the Niners. Other teams might want to go a little bit more than the Niners would because they still have Kittle under contract. So I could see it. That's why I hope this kid has a big game and potentially ends up being the dude for the Niners at tight end. I've done my preliminary 2026 rankings. I mean, I don't even have George Kittle in there because I don't think he's playing. For at least
if he does, it's
the first 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, and say even if he does play, you're talking about like probably week 16, 17, 18. And at that point, you're not going to trust him at all.
And if Tonges is that guy, if they don't bring somebody else in, he will be my favorite tight end sleeper, I can promise you.
I'm still fascinated by the Seattle backfield because Kenneth Walker, I thought this year has looked as good as he's ever looked. Like he is a physical runner who he makes a bunch of guys miss. He runs through tackles, and then he gets subbed out every time they get down to the 1 yard line for Zach Charbonnet, who, to his credit, has been awesome as a goal line runner. I just wonder what this backfield is going to look like in 2026 or during the 2026 regular season because Walker's a free agent. I wonder if the lack of touchdown production is going to make Walker want to leave to go somewhere else where he can score a little bit more. But is Charbonnet ready for that big of a load? I don't know. I'm just fascinated here.
I'm always selfish when it comes to fantasy football, and so I want to be able to spread out the talent at positions so everyone gets an opportunity. I would love Walker to go to Houston. I would love Walker to go to Kansas City. I would love Walker to go somewhere.
Hold on.
Where he'd be the featured back. And then Charbonnet could be the number one.
Though. Woody Marks is a good running back.
He's okay. I mean, I
like Woody Marks.
Ken Walker would give them a much more explosive option in the backfield.
But doesn't it feel like that'd be the exact same situation that we'd have in Seattle where Woody Marks is too good?
I don't think Woody Marks has established himself as like some, high-end goal line running back.
No, but I'm saying like I think Woody Marks has shown that he should be getting 14 to 15 touches a game.
Would you rather draft Ken Walker in Houston or Seattle next season?
I mean, the truth is neither. I don't want him in. I've had him in every league this year, and I did not love that, and I wouldn't love it in Houston next year either.
Yeah, I don't think you'd see a 50-50 split in Houston with Marks like you saw this past year in Seattle with Charbonnet. Put up Kansas City, whatever, put in your favorite running back destination for a free agent, and that's where I want Walker to go. And
I mean, the truth is Dallas. Like I know.
We don't want to. Javonte was great, and you're not going to have to pay him a ton. Walker would cost more money. I get it that, Walker's the more explosive player, and from a fantasy standpoint, you'd love to see that. I don't know if that's going to be realistic, but yeah, I mean, Dallas would be a nice landing spot certainly as well. But that would also hurt Javonte Williams. I'm trying to spread the wealth here, Marcus, with these like prognostications. I want guys to go where they have opportunities to be featured backs. And Charbonnet would be a nice RB2 if he were the featured back for Seattle, right? I mean, they could bring somebody else in the offseason to be the number 2. Walker goes elsewhere. He could be the number 1 someplace. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for.
One more name for this game I want to throw out, and that's Ricky Pearsall, who he's questionable to play. We'll see if he does. I don't know what to think here, Fabs, because we're through 2 seasons now. He's played 20 combined games. Now, some of that is not his fault, right? Like he got shot. He was able to recover from that. But kind of the knock on him coming out of Florida was there was a bunch of soft tissue injuries, and he's been dealing with it again. He's got that blasted power plant right next door. Exactly. 900 total yards over the last 2 seasons, 3 touchdowns. The 49ers desperately need wide receivers. I mean, there's only so much that Demarcus Robinson and Jaywan Jennings can do. Brandon Ayuk's not going to be back here next year. And Ricky Pearsall, this is a great opportunity for him. And again, he's going to be 26 to start next season. That's not old for a wide receiver, but we're kind of getting into like, it's time to go, territory for Pearsall. I'd like to see him play well once in the postseason.
I get it. I was in on him coming into the season, and I thought I was going to look pretty good or golden. Dad joke. And then the injuries, I know, was really bad. And then the injury started to mount, and that was the end. I'm out on him. This is 2 years in a row of a dude getting hurt. Doesn't mean that I wouldn't want to have him, but I'm not going to, let's just say, target him. If he falls to me in a draft, then I'll take him. But I'm talking about like wide receiver 4. Okay. And I'm probably not going to get him there. I mentioned, my buddy Heath Evans from NFL Network. He always used to say, injured guys stay injured. And Pearsall has done nothing but prove to us that he is not going to be a durable player at the next level. You mentioned it. There were some soft tissue injury issues during his time at Florida. I know the opportunity is there, man. But I'm telling you right now, the Niners have to go out and get a big-time wide receiver. They have to. There's not a lot of big-name wide receivers out there in free agency, but trades happen all the time. They need to go out and get – you can talk about the Bills need to get a wide receiver too. So do the Niners because Pearsall's made of glass. Jennings, I believe, is a free agent after this season.
Jennings is also older. And
Ayuk's gone. So,
Kittle's hurt.
Robinson, come on. He was good last week, but, he's DeMarcus Robinson. So they need to make some moves at wide receiver.
All right, let's talk about these Sunday games, and let's start with one of the most fun games of the weekend, Rams-Bears in a snowstorm. We'll get to that next. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. The NFL playoffs are in full swing, and there's nothing like being at the game, the crowd noise, the energy, and cheering alongside other fans. Watching at home is great, but being in the stadium just hits different. And the frustrating part is always trying to get those tickets between waiting in lines, dealing with logins, and watching prices jump at checkout. It's all incredibly frustrating, but that's why the Game Time app gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the hack of unlocking amazing NFL tickets and experiences in just a few taps. I was looking at tickets for the Chicago game because, man, it would be a lot of fun to be in that stadium with all the snow and the cold. I love it. Like, that's my perfect idea for a football game. And I found some awesome deals on the app. But my favorite part is that you're going to get the all-in pricing, so you're not surprised by anything at checkout. So Game Time will take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL. That is Locked On NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today and get back to being there live. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The division round of the NFL playoffs are here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action, because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you're going to see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts that you could apply to the bets that you like the most. Like for me, I love the Broncos. I think they're 1.5 point underdogs right now. They're home underdogs against the Bills. I love that. I think they're going to win pretty easily on Saturday afternoon. And now you can get an even bigger payout with FanDuel while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Welcome back to the Locked On Dynasty Football Podcast. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen every single day. Fabs, let's run through these Sunday games quickly. I want to start with the Rams-Bears. It's expected to be really cold. It's going to be windy. It's going to be snowy. It's a perfect playoff football game atmosphere. Like, I love cold weather games. It's really fun to watch. Which player are you the most excited to see in this matchup?
There's a few. I would probably put Colston Loveland and Luther Burden at the top. Loveland's been dynamite. I mean, 3 straight games over 20 fantasy points. He's become the top option in the passing game for Caleb Williams. But also, Luther Burden is a player that you and I both like for next year as a potential sleeper/breakout player. So I want to see how he goes out there and performs, because the Rams have not been good against wide receivers this year. But I'll give you, and he's not a traditional sleeper, but just a player to watch out for. DJ Moore has been good lately.
Yeah.
3 of his last 5 games, he's had over 18 fantasy points. He had over 20 last week. And the Rams have really given it up to perimeter receivers. And Moore has run about like 70% of his routes on the outside this year. And I know it's going to be cold. I don't know if there's going to be snow. It looks like right now it's just going to be butt cold. It's going to be like 0.
Which is great. I love it.
I wouldn't want to be in the stands for that. I mean, there's no doubt about that. No, thank you. I'll stay at home in my
hold on.
House. By the way,
I mean, you are an NFL historian. Don't you miss having more of these like bad weather games?
Listen, do you remember Bengals Chargers?
Yeah.
And, what some consider to be the coldest game in the history of the NFL. It was the game before the Bengals ended up going to the Super Bowl and getting beat by the 49ers. That was the week after we saw the Chargers beat Miami in that amazing hook and ladder game. That was maybe, one of the greatest playoff games, maybe the greatest playoff game of all time. Some people may not remember that. Yeah, like I love the cold weather games. I love the snow games. Like they're a lot of fun. Just insofar as how do they affect the players and the passing game and the ground attack, et cetera. Is the field going to be frozen? A lot of times now they have these coils underneath the field. And so it's heated. It's not going to be as bad. So I'm really interested to see what the Bears can do through the air, because that's where the Rams are really vulnerable, is in the passing game.
I want to ask you a question about Loveland before we move on. Is there anything that he can do in this postseason? I mean, he's already off to a great start, but is there anything he can do where you would consider putting him ahead of Brock Bowers or Trey McBride in your dynasty leagues?
No, but he's third.
Okay. I mean, I'm with you. Like, he's comfortably third.
You could put Tyler Warren at 3. You could put Loveland at 3. I think they're both very, very similar. I only put Loveland ahead of him now because I don't know who the quarterback of the Colts is going to be. But I mean, listen, I did a 1-man 5-round redraft mock over at Sports Illustrated. I have 3 tight ends coming off the board in those 5 rounds. Bowers, McBride, not in that order. I have McBride first and a first-round pick. And I have Loveland going off the board in the 5th round. That's it. Only 3 tight ends.
We're going to talk about McBride maybe next week on players that you should sell at the peak of their value, because I actually have some
concerns. You're going to sell McBride?
Yes, I have some concerns about McBride. It has nothing to do with them.
I can't wait to talk about that.
We'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's talk about this Houston game. No Nico Collins for the Texans in this matchup. I think this is a big-time opportunity for Jayden Higgins, who has made some plays during the regular season. I cannot wait to see what he looks like against a pass defense for New England that's getting Christian Gonzalez back from the concussion. That's a pretty fundamentally sound defense. It's a huge opportunity for him.
It is. Xavier Hutchinson as well is going to have to step up. Christian Kirk is going to have to step up. Obviously, not as much value in him in terms of dynasty. But yeah, Higgins is the guy that I really want to watch in this game to see if he can assume the role of the alpha. And you can't ever replace a Nico Collins, but you could do your best to potentially at least try and ease the loss. And while that's huge, I mean, he is the Texans' #1 offensive threat. And now that offensive threat will be on the sidelines. I think the Patriots win this game. And I know the Texans' defense is phenomenal, but New England's defense played very well last week against the LA Chargers, and they're at home. So not that anything would shock me in the NFL, because you just can't say that anything would shock you anymore. But I would be kind of surprised if New England didn't win this game. But Jayden Higgins has got to step up. Hutchinson has got to step up.
I wouldn't be surprised, though, if the Texans win, because I think if the Texans can score 17 points, they're going to win this game.
Well, the problem is, can they score 17 points without their alpha wide receiver?
And that's the thing, is can they get some short fields with turnovers? Can they hit a couple of big
turnovers
plays?
Are always huge. Yeah.
Can they not fumble the ball 5 times? Well, 2 of the times when you're down, in the red zone. Yeah. That would be really nice.
One other thing too, Marcus, I think that is important, and we saw this last week. Ramondre Stevenson was the best offensive player for the Patriots last week. And honestly, it wasn't close. He was the best player. He did everything for this team. And if you look at his numbers down the stretch and into the playoffs, he was freaking good.
He was really
good. And if that continues, you are not going to get a Travion Henderson breakout season in 2026. You're not, because Stevenson's still under contract in the prime of his career. And if he's one of the guys, he was the offensive hero last week. If he's the offensive hero again this week, you think they're going to go away from him and give Henderson more touches next year? I don't think so. So that's another thing. Let's see what Stevenson does as it pertains to Henderson, what Henderson can do, what the roles are, what the snaps are, what the touches look like. because that could go a long way in determining whether or not we think Henderson can break out next year, or if it's going to be another 50-50 split. You know what they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And right now, the New England backfield ain't broke.
Last thing, Kyle Williams, the receiver for the Patriots, I'm just fascinated by it because every time he's got an opportunity, he's flashed. I know Kayshon Boutte is going to get plenty of opportunities. Stephon Diggs is still the wide receiver one there, but Diggs is getting older. I mean, you're talking about somebody who's 32 years old. Like, he's not going to be around for the prime of Drake May's career. Is Kyle Williams somebody that could maybe fill that void? Can he have a big playoff game? Can Boutte make plays down the field? We'll see. All right, that is it for today's show. We want to thank you for making Locked On Dynasty Football your first listen every single day. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Dynasty ad-free plus members-only Discord access and so much more. Head over to lockedondynasty.supercast to join the club. And for those of you on video, we can send you the first ever 24/7 national NBA YouTube channel. And on audio, make your second listen to the Locked On NFL podcast. Follow Fabs on Twitter at Michael_Fabiano. I'm at Marcus_Mosher. Enjoy the games. We'll see you right back here on Monday.